Well, we got some Flash leaks, and I have to say, they are pretty amazing. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about that concept art that's been flying around the internet and which major DC characters from all over its history are appearing in this movie. Let's break it down. Well guys, we haven't really gotten a big update on The Flash in quite a while, and I have to say, today's news is pretty interesting. We're going to take a couple minutes to talk about this concept art that reveals all kinds of cool cameos, as well as some rumors about Ezra Miller sticking around for the role for a long time. Now before we dive into that though, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and ring that bell so you get all the updates. We really want to try to be your place for all the DC and Marvel news, but we're going to bring it to you transparently, truthfully, so you are truly in the know. So let's start off talking about this concept art because I find it awfully exciting. Now, as many of you know, this summer we will indeed get The Flash in theaters, a movie that has been delayed for forever, and the Ezra Miller-led movie is finally going to be front and center. Now, as many of you know, this is going to be a take on Flashpoint, but going in its own unique direction, and it will start to explore the DC multiverse. Well, over the course of the last couple of days, we've gotten some really interesting concept art that appears to show us all kinds of goodies from this movie. Now, I have to say, Warner Bros. Discovery has been issuing takedown notices and copyright strikes, so I'm going to encourage you to go over to Reddit to actually see the pictures. I'm not going to risk the channel or the channel's status, but all of this is pretty big news and we want to break it all down for you. Now, in this concept art, we get lots of peeks of the movie, as well as Michael Keaton's Batman and Supergirl, which was all pretty cool. But there is one particular series of pictures that has fans' attention. It appears to show the Flash transversing the multiverse, and in that multiverse, we see mega references to several franchises from the history of DC. So I wanted to break each one of them down. Let's start with Superman. Now, there's still a lot of buzz around Henry Cavill leaving as Superman and who James Gunn's new Superman will be, but the history of Superman is pretty solid, and we see a big chunk of it in this concept art. Now, in this concept art, we get a peek at two different Supermen. First, going all the way back to the 1950s and seeing George Reeves make an appearance in the movie. Additionally, we have a look at the classic 1980s Superman, Christopher Reeve, who took the role to iconic status on the big screen and has been a long fan favorite. Now, we've had ongoing rumors and stories about Superman being greatly altered for this movie. This goes all the way from Sasha Kelly completely replacing Superman to her just joining him in the main multiverse, but I think at this point, Superman is very up in the air with the new DCU. Now, multiple Supermen are not alone because both the other Trinity characters do make an appearance. In one of the pieces of concept art, it appears to show Christian Bale, Robert Pattinson, and Michael Keaton all together in the art, along with Adam West's classic Batman, who appears in the same little bubble that George Reeves did. This again teases the overall scale of the multiverse of the DC history, with Batman having the most incarnations, and I think this is pretty wild. We also get multiple Wonder Women. This includes Gal Gadot, as well as Linda Carter. Actually, it appears to be an outline of Linda Carter, but quite honestly, with Linda being a part of the new Wonder Woman franchise, I totally think she fits perfectly here. Now, I want to make it pretty clear with this story, though. It's pretty obvious to me not all of these actors are appearing. They're likely just part of one segment that sees him transversing the multiverse. I have no inclination to think that a CGI version of George Reeves or Christopher Reeve, as well as Adam West, will actually be in the movie. I think these will be references to all that classic material, and fans should manage their expectations properly. Gal Gadot is the only one that I think could possibly have a little bit of a role in the movie. That's never been confirmed or even speculated about, quite honestly. But as for Wonder Woman go, she would be the one that would fit in nicely. Now, what all this means for the movie, we're going to have to wait and see. I think DC, even before James Gunn took over, was making an attempt to try to get all their franchises kind of into the same bucket. They're obviously not in the same universe, and fans are now pretty educated on what the multiverse is, so I think they're looking to take full advantage of it. The best part of all these cameos, though, is it absolutely does set up whatever James Gunn has in store. We speculated a little bit that The Flash really could be the perfect movie for him to take off from, and the fact they're making it pretty clear there's multiple universes with multiple versions of the character make it super easy for him and audiences to move the whole franchise forward in whatever new direction DC Studios is going to take it. Now, again, this art gets clipped really fast by Warner Bros. Discovery, so I'll leave a link to a Reddit post down below. It seems to be getting periodically updated to include the art, and you can go check it out for yourself. I think DC taking advantage of the multiverse is the best move they could have possibly made, and I think we're diving deep into the multiverse, and it leaves us in store for some pretty incredible stories. Now, as far as Ezra Miller goes, there have been multiple reports over the last week or so that Warner Brothers is reconsidering keeping him as the Flash. Now, we talked about this a little bit the other day, but I think it fits in nicely here too. Now, multiple reports have indicated that some brass at Warner Brothers Discovery want to keep Ezra on the project because apparently he's doing very good with his current mental health treatment dealing with some of those big issues over the last year. Now, we're a place where we like second chances, so I think that is a good thing. But I think we should be pretty aware of the bigger picture here. James Gunn is making a lot of moves, and ultimately he will make that call. Apparently, DeLuca and Adby are the ones who are happy with Ezra, and Gunn could still quite possibly clip him and recast him for the end of Flashpoint. Now, on the flip side of that, Flashpoint is basically one of those things that could very easily allow Ezra to move forward. The Flash returning to the new DCU timeline would make a recasting of that particular character unnecessary. Now, given what's going on in the background with Ezra Miller, that's kind of unfortunate, but quite honestly, if he gets the help that he needs and he's doing pretty well, and Warner Brothers Discovery can find a reason to keep him, I absolutely think they will. What ultimately happens with that, we'll have to wait and see. I think the Flash is hugely important to the new DCU moving forward, and whatever moves they make, they're going to have to be precise because they could alienate a lot of fans by clipping Ezra, but maybe even more by dismissing some of the really disturbing behavior that's happened over the last year or two. As a Flash fan, I just want a good movie, and I'm really hoping they work all this out before the movie's release so there's no unnecessary drama to deal with then. We'll have to wait and see.